Right, you. We'll just wait for 2-3 minutes and then we'll start. Yeah, hi team. So I think we can go and start the session. Meantime, others can join. Let me share my screen. So yesterday we are looking into that soap thing. That okay, how we can start the soap trigger. Today we'll go and see the continuation. That okay, how we can do the invoke also soap connection, right? Let me just go. So what we do right now? Now what we do? Yesterday we are looking into this greetings API. So same way, right? We have one more API as a calculator API. In this one, if you see right, what we have. As we yesterday discussed that, okay, right? If we have to read, right, from where we will start, first we go to the service. So in the service, if you see, right, there are two services, calculator and calculator soap. Okay, now service is one only. There is one service. In that one, two ports are there, right? So one is calculator soap and one is calculator soap 1, 2, right? So two ports we have. So when we have two ports, right? So there is going to be two bindings, calculator soap, right? So if you come here, right, what will happen, right? We will get to see two bindings here, right? So if you see, this is the first binding and this is the second binding. If you see, right, two, whatever we define into this one, right? So two bindings will be there, right? So calculator soap. So this will have the operation add, subtract and all. Then each will have the inputs and output, right? Same way, right? Same things we are using into this also. So this is our calculator soap. And in this one, right, the operations are subtract, multiply and divide, right? So in this one, right, the add is not there, right? This add is not there, only subtract and this is what we have, right? Then same way, right, what we have, right? Here we have all the messages, right? Add soap in, right? So wherever we have those parameter, right? So those things what we have is available here, right? Soap input, add soap input and add soap output. Subtract soap input, subtract soap output, right? And then if you come here in the types, so for add, right, they will have that, okay, we need two numbers, right? Integer A, integer B. The output is going to be the add result. Same way for the subtract, integer A and integer B, two numbers are going to be have, then that is what, right? So this is what we have like the trigger connect in like in the sample calculator, right? So now what we'll do, right? We'll go and use this as an invoke connection, right? So we'll see how we can go and do this as an invoke connection. So first we have to come and we have to define our connection first, right? So we can come inside the connection and we can say create. So we can go and use this as a soap and we can use soap calculator connection, right? And what we do, right? We can go use this as a trigger and invoke and we can say create. So now again, what we need to define here, right? We need to define the WSDL file here, right? Right, okay. What is going to be our WSDL file? So we can go and upload that WSDL file. So this is our calculator WSDL file. we can go and use this one and upload. We got uploaded. We can go and use the here basic authentication and a username and password, right? So for this one, right, we don't need to provide any username and password, right? Because if you say in the case of invoke, right, we are calling external, right? So this is we don't like this is without security, right? So we can say no security policy, right? So we can say no security policy. We can go and test this one, validate and test. So if you see, right, it is 100% complete. Now what we do, right, we can go and save it. So it is in the configured state. Now it means like we are able to upload. Now we just wanted to go and use this one, right? So what we do, right? Now we will go and use this one. Now in this one, right, what we will see, right? Is it if you wanted to use a SOAP invoke connection, right? Is it necessary that okay, the trigger should also be the invoke only, right? Let us go and see. Can we do with the so first of all, right, what we do, we can go to our B21. So we can go and create application. We can say B21 underscore. Calculator integration 11, right? This is our calculator integration. Now we can go to the package and we can put this into our package and we can say create, right? So this is what we are able to achieve. Now what is the one, right? We wanted to start, right? So it is necessary that okay, we need to have the soap only, right? Can we have the trigger here? So yes, we can have the trigger also. So in this one, right, what we do, right, the starting point, right? So the starting point will go and use the trigger connection. So where we have our first trigger connection, we can go and use this one and we can see here start and continue. Then the endpoint we will have, so we can just slash start and this we can define as the post. Here we can define the request payload and response payload and we can say continue, right? So the request payload we can go and define. So here we can go and define two things. Number one, and we can go and define the second, number two, right? So these two parameters we have defined. We can say continue, continue. Now we can go and define the response payload. So the response, right, we will have that output, right? So we can say it is going to be have the output, right? And we can say continue, continue and finish. We can go and change the layout, save. Now we can go and add the business identifier. So in this one, right, what we do, we can come here and we can put the number one and number two we can put at the secondary. We can go and save. Well, now, right, like what we have done, right, we have put the starting point, right, as a trigger connection, right? Now we wanted to see, right, in the previous sessions, right, we have seen that okay, invoke, right, can we are able to achieve the invoke, right, with the help of REST. Now can we go and call here SOAP connection, right, as invoke, right? So let us see. So if you see, right, it is available. So we can go and use this one calculator. So this is our calculator, right? So we can go and call this as a calculator. We can say next. Now if you see, right, what is happening, right? Service it is coming, right? So if I will go and see this one, right? So there was one service, right? And in one service, two bindings was there, right? Two ports was there, right? So if you see, right, port, it will come here. It is asking which port we wanted to use, right? So we can say calculator SOAP 1, 2, right? Suppose if it was a one port, right? So that could have selected automatically. Now in this port, right, we have four operations, right? Add, subtract, multiply, delete, right? So it will ask, right, which operation we wanted to do, right? So we can say add, right? Then what will happen, right? Correspondingly, the input payload and output payload will come, right? That okay, add SOAP in, add SOAP output. Now we can say continue, continue, and finish. We can go and save first. Now if you see, right, what is happened, right? That mapper got created, right? Now we can come into this mapper and we can see that okay, what it is coming here, right? So in the body, if you see, right, so body is like our output, right? So if you see, right, what is this one, right? It has input add and it has the like integer a and integer b, right? So these two things we need to pass, right? Where we have those things in our case, number one and number two, right? So we can go and send us number one and number two. We can go and do the validate. Now we can come back. We can come here again. And in this mapper, right, output will be available, right? Where? So in the calculator SOAP, the output would be available, right? So add response, add result, right? So this is that output what we have. And where we need to put, right? We need to put into our one, right? So this is one. So we can say add result will go into the add out. Now we can go and validate. So validation is successful, right? Now what we do, right? We can come back again and we can go into the save. So we are able to do, right? Now let us go and test. So in this, what we have done, right? Started as a trigger. Invoke connection, right? We are using in between, right? So in this one, right, two scenarios we discuss, look, right? One is like how we can go and use the connection as an invoke, SOAP as an invoke connection also, right? And the second is like we can able to use a mix and match, right? It means our starting point can be trigger, then we can go and use invoke. Other way around also it is possible. Our starting point can be SOAP, and in between, if we need to call, right, the REST APIs and all, right, so we can go and call, right? It is completely okay. There is no dependency that okay, if it is a REST, then we can go and use only REST because it is an independent step, right? Here you can go and write anything. Now let us go and see. We can go and activate this one. If, if you see, right, this time, right, this time we don't need to do this as a REST, right? Why? Because if you see it, this will go and take care of that one, right? So if you see, right, if I will go and do the run, I will use one and two and run. Like you see, right, output it is coming 3, right? It means like it is working fine. Now this time, right, we don't have to go to the external, right? Why? Because our starting point was a REST, our trigger connection was a REST, right? So REST we can go and test internally only, right? So if you see, right, if we come here, so if you go to the invoke calculator, right? So in that one, right, what was happening? We are passing the value 1 and 2, and then we are getting the response as the 3, right? We are getting that addition of that one, right? So that is how we can go and use the invoke connection also, right? Now in this case, right, what we was having, we are having the file with us, right? Right? So we are able to do that one, right? Now suppose if we don't have the file, right, visual file, right? Because it is not always there that okay, we will have the visual file, right? They will say that okay, this is our visual URL, it is going to be and then you can go and call, right? We can go and start. In that case, right, how we can go and achieve, right? If suppose we will get the visible URL, right? Because this is what we are able to see, right? We have the file, we are able to upload the file, and we looked into that one, right? Now, if you see, right, we have one more, right? If you see this visible, right? So this is the currency conversion and number conversion. Let's go and run this one. So if you see, right, this is also the visible file, but this is there on the internet, right? And in this one, right, also we will have the same kind of things, but this is we will not have the file, right? This is available over the internet, right? So can we directly go and use this visual also? Yes, we can go and use that also, right? So in this case, if you see, right, what we have the service, so number conversion, right? And in this one, right, we will have two operations, number to words and number to dollars. Then the next is like what we have is like bindings for each number to words, right? It will have the input and output. Same thing for number $2, right? It will have input and output. Then what are those number, right? So it will have the port types that okay, number to words, right? It will have these messages, number to word request and response. Then those request and response will contain that message, number to words response, right? And then here that actual information will be there that okay, what is the input type, right? What is the input parameter name? UBI number, then number to words is the response. Then this will have the D number, right? Dollar number, right? So this is what we have like as a visual URL, right? So how we can go and use this one, right? So for this one, right, we need to go and define one more connection. So before to that one, right? Any question into this one, right? If anyone has any question into this one. Okay. If no question, right, then what we do, right? We'll go. We can come to the connections and we can go and create one more connection that also is going to be so. We can say B20 so we can say dollar number conversion. Right. We can say create. Now if you see right here in the property, right, we will have two things, right? Well now right we have seen that okay we can go and upload the file, right? So we can do that one. But in case if you have the URL also, right, we can go and upload the URL also. It is not always necessary that okay we need to upload the file only. If suppose we have the visual URL like this one, right, which is there on the internet, right, we can just go and use that also, right? So like this one, right, we can go and put for security, right? There is no security, so we can say no security. Now we can go and test it out. So if you said we are able to use this also, right? So it means like it is completely okay. If we have the file with us, we can upload the file. If we have the URL, we can go and upload the URL, right? So we can go and save. We can go back. Now we can come to the integration part. And here, right, what we do, right? We'll create an integration. And in that one, right, what we do, right? We will go and call that one, right? So let us come here. Number and currency conversion. Go and put this into our package. Right. Right. So in this case, right, what we will go and use in case if you wanted to use the soap connection, right? So the greeting one also, right, we can go and use because in that also, right, we have the input and output, right? Or if we wanted to use the rest, right, we can go and use the rest connection and then because in the rest, right, we will have the freedom with us because we can go and define everything at the real time, right? But in the case of soap, right, we don't have the that level of freedom because we need to define the things before do that only, right? Mhm. So what we do, right, we can come here and we can go and use our rest trigger connection only. Or let me use that greeting one. Start, continue. In this one, right, what we have, right, we have the greeting. Then it will have the request and response. We can say continue and finish. Save. Now we can go and call here our the number conversion. So the dollar number conversion we can go and call. In this we can say conversion, continue. Then in this one, right, we have multiple operation, right? So which operation we wanted to write. So we can go and use in this one, right, what operation. So we have number two words, number $2, right? So we can say number $2 and we can go and see the continue, continue and finish. Now we can go and do the mapping. Number two words, right? What will happen? D number. So for example, this first name, right? First name will contain the number, right? So we'll go and do this one mapping and validate. Now we can come back here and we'll do that output. Output is going to be the greeting, right? So in this one, right, the number conversion output will come, right? And from where we will get that output? Conversion number to dollar response, and this will contain. So we can go and map this one, validate. Now we can come back again, and the business identifier is missing. So we can go and add the business identifier, this first name. So the number, right, it is going to be the business identifier. We can go and save. Now what we do, right, we can go and test it out, right? So mapping part we have done. Trigger we have used that greeting connection, and this we have used a number connection, right? Now let us come back again here and activate this also. Now we know, right, this we cannot go and test it out here, right? Only run details we can go and see, right? That okay, this is our, right? So with the help of this one, right, what we need to do, right, we have to come here and we need to define into this one, right? SOAP UI. So it is already there, right? So this was a SOAP UI which we are testing yesterday, right? So what we do need to do, right? We can close this one and we need to define a new SOAP connection. So I can say conversion and we have pasted the complete visual URL. Now we can say okay, this greeting will come and this is our request payload. Then this one, right, we need to go and pass the number. So before to that one, right, we need to provide the authentication because this is from the OIC, right? So we cannot go and test without that authentication. We can go and put the credentials. And in this one, right, we know we need to pass the number, right? So for example, pass 23. We can go and test it out. So 200, okay. We can come to the XML. If you see $23, right? So it means it is working fine. If we come to our OIC, right, we can go and do the tracking. 23, right? It is working fine. If you go and change here, right, and we can go and run again. So we'll get, and if you see it, $9,876, right? So this is what we are able to achieve, right? So it means like we can go and call this one as a invoke connection also, right? If suppose we don't have the file, so with the usual one also, right, we can go and call, right? So this is all about we have the SOAP connections. If anyone has any questions, let me know. We can go and take those questions for the SOAP. Because in the SOAP, right, as I told it, we have very limited things, right? Because everything is completely dependent on the WSDL file. So we don't have more control. Like what if you set in the REST, right? We are able to achieve so many things, right? Request input parameter, as a request payload we can do, right? Multiple operations, right? We can go and do a number of tasks. But in the case of SOAP, right, we cannot do because everything is defined into that SOAP. So whatever is defined into the SOAP, right? Only those things we can go and use, and other things, right, we cannot go and explain, or we cannot plan anything else, right? So that is what we have. Now one more thing I have. Let me come back to this integration. We will make a clone of this one. This is what we have done. Now if I will come inside this one, right? So for this one, right, like we have this one, right? Like we have the trigger connection and all, right? Everything. Now what will happen, right? In case suppose if you have to change this one, right? Right? If you see, right? This is the like when we started, right? So that time, right, we have defined this as a SOAP connection, right? Now can we go and change this one, right? So if you see it, now we have started this as a SOAP connection, right? SOAP trigger connection. Now suppose we say that okay, no, now we need to make as a this as a REST, right? How we can do that one, right? So if you see, right, if we come to the edit, right, only this page will come, right? So it means SOAP only we can go and modify. So that is also not there, right? Then the next is edit connection, right? So edit connection is what, right? It means like if we wanted to make any changes into these, all right? So that is what we have, right? So that is also not there, right? Then what we do, right? Cut, right? What will happen this cut, right? So if you see trigger action is not movable. It means if we have done one time, right, then that's all, right? We cannot go and make changes into this one, right? We cannot go and change the trigger, right? Because if you see it, we don't have the delete action also, right? So we cannot go and make any delete this one, right? So it is like one time, right? If we have created, then only we have to do, right? If we have to modify, right, what we have to do, right? We just need to go and recreate the new integration, because then only, right, we can go and achieve. Otherwise, like by creating after creation, right, we cannot go and modify that. Okay, now I wanted to use a different trigger connection. Only the properties and rest all things we can go and modify for this one, but this whole trigger connection, right, we cannot go and delete, or we cannot say that okay, delete the starting point and we can go and add a different starting point. If we have to do that one, right, so we need to go and define a new integration itself, right? So that is what we have. But on other case, right, if you see, right, if you wanted to delete this one, right, so if you see we have the delete button for this one, right, but for trigger button, right, we don't have the delete buttons. Only for this one we have the delete button. So if we wanted to delete this one, right, so we, right, so what will happen, right, this will go and delete this one. So it will go and delete the object and mapper both. It will go and delete, right? So let us go back. Will not save, discard. We can come back again, right? So if you see, right, Now suppose can we delete this mapper and recreate, because we know right these mappers we have not created, right? So mapper was coming automatically, right? So for example, right, this mapper can be deleted, right? So if you say yes, we can go and delete. So delete. Now we have deleted the mapper, right? So it will start coming as a warning that okay, for this object, right, there is no mapper, right? So if you see, right, for this object, the input mapper is not there, right? So it will start coming as a warning, right? Because we need the mapper for each, right? Now can we go and recreate the mapper? Right, yes, we can go and recreate. So how we can go and do the recreation, right? So we can come to the mapper part. Here we can click into this plus, and here we can search for the map, right? Or we can go to that actions list, and here, right, in the actions, right, the mapper will be available. So we can just go drag and drop here. So our mapper will come. Now for which object we need the mapper, right? At this point we are creating, right? So after this, right, what we have, one is like we have this conversion, and one is like we will have the output, right? So which one we need the mapper, right? So we need the mapper for the conversion, right? So we can say conversion. Now we can say create. If you see it, we came inside again, same thing there, right? Because this time again we need to define, right? So we can go and define this one because the previous one we already deleted. So this we have defined, created in new only, right? If I will come outside, so what will happen, right? Our conversion will have the new mapper, right? So that is how, right, in we can go and delete the mapper and we can recreate. So when we can delete, right? So suppose when in this one, right, there are so many changes. Like suppose 50 mapping was there, right? And all 50 got changed, right? So now fixing will take more time than recreation, right? Then in that case, what we do, right? We can delete the mapper completely and we can go and create again and we can go and make the changes, right? So that is how we can go and do this one. Any other questions if anyone has into all these topics? Okay, so if no question, then I think today we'll just wrap up the session today here only, as we don't have any questions. And with this one, right, we have completed the SOAP APIs also, right? So tomorrow we'll go and see the next topic. So if anyone has any questions, let me know. We can go and take those questions. And again, I will say that, okay, whatever we are doing, right, please go and do the hands-on so that, okay, you will also get that how it is happening, right?
Yeah, Prashant, in case we have security enabled, right? So, where do we load the certificates and all, like Oracle wallets, all these things are there, right?
So security for the rest one, right? So if you are using the certificates and all, right? So in
Mhm.
that case, right, what will happen, right? Like as a developer, right, we cannot go and do that one. So we need that admin account for that one, right? So we can just save. And once we save, right, what will happen, right? Here we will get one more option, settings option. So in that settings option, right, what we do, right, those certificates and all those things, right, we can go and upload, and then it will be taken care. And whenever you do anywhere, right, so those certificates will come into that one. But if you are using at the connection level, right, so for example, right, this is a trigger, right, and this one I don't have the certification one. So if suppose the certificate one is any of type here, right, so in that one, right, it will go and ask here only. So when we do the database thing, right, so that time we'll see, because database, right, will be requiring the wallet file. So that wallet file, right, we will go and upload here only. So if we define the connect those things, right, so based on
Mhm.
the security, right, if it needs file, so those options will come here only, because this security, right, will go and change the parameters as per the whichever we see, right. So when we use authorization code, so it will go and have the different formats, right. So if it needs the file, right, so we need to upload the file here only. Or let me go and show you any
Don't
existing
we
here.
have TLS security? TLS is SSL security.
DLS security for which object? Like,
No, it's general TLS security protocol. Like in my
uh,
one of my integrations in my work, like we use TLS security.
we have to check it out because the security, right? Like, it depends upon the parameter
Mm,
and the trigger connection, the type of adapter. So if that
mm,
adapter has that one range, yes, we can go and use. So for example, if I will use that ATP things, right? Yeah. So for example, right, this is our database connection, right? ATP. If we go inside this one, right? And this one, if you see, right, JDBC over SSL certificate, right? So in this
mm.
one, right, we need to upload the wallet file. If you see, right, this is the wallet file what we have. So based on that one, right, whatever the security you will use, right, out of the given options, right, then the below parameters will change. So if that parameter needs certificate, so certificate option will come and you can go and upload the certificate there.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions if we have? Okay. So if no questions, then I think we can go and wrap up the session today here only. Thank you all. We'll connect tomorrow, same time.
Yeah, thank you.
So tomorrow is a Saturday, so we'll connect tomorrow late. I will update the time in the group. So we'll connect at that time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.